A lot of people ask me, Jordies, why don't you go after Labouuuur? They are just as bad. And the honest reason is, it's a lot easier to make videos whining about third world level land clearing rates than it is about some stupid digital labour organiser making, what the this ad sucks! Actually, I take it back. It's impossible to complain about digital labour. That is based and joke appeal. Wanna know how I got this smirk? I'm sorry, what do you want me to do? There's just not as much content, considering this guy's the leader of the Nats. How is anything that Albanese has ever done gonna compete with that? Sorry, Albo, you're irrelevant. Don't want to beef with you, you're not worth my time. Also, if you want shitting on Labour, how about you go to literally any other media outlet in the country? Except for today, you're in for a treat, because I found someone in the Labor Party who is well deserving of a Friendly Jordies video, so suffice to say, today's video is very good, as it's a story on Labor that is for once worth doing. But more importantly, it's about a dodgy council, Burwood Council. And if you're across your Triple M trivia, you'd know that Burwood is the home of AC/DC. So has there ever been a more fitting time to play Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap? Well, sorry, we won't, because I want the ad rib, but I'll sing it for you. Dirty deeds done dirt cheap. Dirty deeds done dirt cheap. Dirty deeds done dirt cheap. Yes. 2 videos in the span of a few months about local councils, starting with me singing some blues rock song from the 70s. Why don't I have 1 million subs yet? Maybe not enough repetition of obscure facts about Labor Party rules. Well, under the New South Wales Labor Party rules, you can't be a candidate for the Labor Party if you're a property developer or a close associate of a property developer. This is just one of the 100 reasons it's difficult to do videos on Labor. Where the Libs proudly allow developers in their ranks, in Labor, you really have to be a closet developer. You know, have a girlfriend in Canada that's a property developer. Actually, even then, that would be against Labor's rules. That's how stringent they are. That's why it's a good thing that Burwood Labor Mayor John Faker is only a property consultant, working for a property investment company. Straight away, John Faker is proving his name is more than fitting, a man who ostensibly is a Labor councillor, yet by representing Labor on the local government, he really appears to contradict the very rules of the Labor Party. But that fact is only scratching the surface of the bear whose own council employees joke that his uncle is Eddie Obeid. Well, his wife's maiden name is Obeid. From the amount of investigations open concerning him, John Faker really appears to be ICAC's white whale. In 2004, he used taxpayer money to go on a trip to Lebanon with a property developer. Subsequently, ICAC investigated and found that Faker had exposed himself to suggestions of inappropriate conduct. I'm sorry, but suggestions of inappropriate conduct? Can the sentence, Mayor uses taxpayer money to go on a trip to Lebanon with a property developer, get more dodgy? It's practically a fat pizza sketch. Another interesting one was the fact that taxpayer money was used to install security equipment in Faker's home. Security equipment and trips to Lebanon. John, you sure you're a member of the Labor Party and not Brothers for Life? No. He's in a much more vicious, dangerous and destructive gang than Brothers for Life. They just do drive-bys. This is a gang that levels entire buildings, a gang that brings governments to their knees. Alright, this is me just setting up to say a suspicious amount of John Faker's immediate family are property developers. I mean, it makes sense. You'd expect property developers to be at least culturally influencing the mayor of Burwood. As if you've ever walked through Burwood, you'd know it's just a little Shanghai off of Parramatta Road. Insanely tall skyscrapers that have so much glass they look like they're 3D rendered images casting shadows on what's left of the quaint Federation houses off of the main roads. I think it's the first place west of the city that you'd see skyscrapers before you go to Parramatta. What's really peculiar about these skyscrapers is it was reported that from December of 2014 to 2016, 40% of Burwood's significant residential development projects were designed by one firm. The firm is called Urban Link, and it's run by a man called Tony Jrej, who I'm not imputing of any wrongdoing, but his name dropped more by ICAC than I name dropped Neil Kolhatkar. Which, by the way, did you know that I know Neil Kolhatkar? I do a podcast with him. This is where John Faker's family comes in. Right now, there's an active development application to build a boarding house in Croydon. The site this boarding house is on is owned by Antonius and Maria Obeid. They just happen to be parents of Julie Faker, the mayor's wife. But the really interesting thing is that on the title deed, there's a caveat lodged by a law firm, almost as if someone else has a financial stake in it. But it gets even more peculiar, as the person that lodged the DA was a man by the name of Joseph E. Kawaja, the Associate Director of UrbanLink. So we have this firm that at one point designed 40% of the developments in Burwood, being contracted to do work on a development owned by the mayor's in-laws with a caveat for someone else on the title deed. In fact, John Faker in July and October of 2020 actually declared a conflict of interest on votes pertaining to a DA lodged by UrbanLink, citing the reason being his family used the same firm. Which good on him for declaring that, but who in his family is he talking about? As maybe the in-laws aren't the only people using them. Plus, that's not clear-cut enough to pin him. The definition of a close associate of property developers really only means one spouse. So let's see if Julie, maiden name Obeid, is up to anything. Well, she's the director of some company called Jadacam Holdings. Mayor Faker used to be the co-director with her, yet just before Labor introduced the ban on property developers holding public office in the Labor Party, he ceased being the director. I'm certainly not imputing anything, because if Jadacam is a property development company, John just recusing himself and keeping his wife on would still be a breach of Labor's rules. Hypothetically, it'd be pretty stupid to give up control of your company to comply with Labor's rules, but continue to breach them by having your spouse direct the same company. There's no way the mayor of Burwood of 20 years would be that stupid. Especially a mayor who looks this cool. That's his actual LinkedIn picture. Just a candid picture of me on the phone, doing business. What business are you doing, John? Proper council shit, like a bin day, this and that. Aren't you a property consultant? Sorry, I have to go. I've got someone online too. Another fun fact is there's an approved development application to build 4 3-story and 2 2-story townhouses with basement parking on 105 Burwood Road, Enfield. And of course, the current house there is a nice old Federation house. Again, the applicant for the development is UrbanLink, but the land is owned by this company called 888 Burwood Pty Limited. Now, guess who runs 888 Burwood Pty Limited? Julie Faker, which would seem to possibly make John Faker a close associate of a property developer and thus disqualify him from representing the Labor Party. I mean, if that's not enough, along with that and the mysterious company Jadacam mentioned earlier, she also runs a Julie Faker property, which, to be fair, could just be a company the Fakers use to collect money from their almost dozen investment properties. But there's also another guy within 888 Burwood called Kamel Faker. From what I can gather, Kamel is some relation to John. I think it's his brother. Here's a picture of them together. Wait, sorry, that's just a picture of Kamel holding a gun. Here's a family pic of them. And here's a pic of them close together. Now, Kamel, along with running property development company 888 Burwood Pty Limited with John's wife, runs another company called Bellcorp Properties and another company that is currently called Exclusive Stone Polishing Pty Limited. But whilst Kamel has been directed, the same company has had many names such as New South Development Pty Limited, New South Property Group Pty Limited, and how lib is this? Prada Building Group Pty Limited, Stitch. We build houses based off of Louis Vuitton bags and shit. I don't know if they actually do build those houses, but I have a very strong inkling that they do. Then, if that's not enough, John's other relative, Asad Faker, is a developer who was the subject of an ICAC investigation as he lobbied Liberal councillors in Canterbury Council to allow him to add 8 metres to the height of his proposed development in Earlwood. John's father is also listed as the director of this company called Nassar Investments 1 Pty Limited. Now, the really spooky thing about this company is that the ex-director is a guy by the name of Ton Kotzenboss, and he's down in Richmond, Melbourne. This got me thinking, why does some guy in Melbourne have something to do with some guy in Croydon? Well, Tom Kotzenboss is a famous accountant, famous for setting up shelf companies that eventually become controlled by some of the most illustrious names in organised crime. Tony Mark Bell, Mick Gatto, Hells Angels East County leader Stephen Stiffy Rogers and Peter Schizo Hewa, gangland figure Fidel Freddy the Bear D'Amico. They're all clients of Tom Kotzenboss. They bought shelf companies created by him, and now we know that the father of the mayor of Burwood is on that list. I guess Kotzenboss does dirty deeds done dirt cheap. Which I guess is cool. It brings Burwood back to its roots, you know? A bit gritty. I mean, come on. Don't you think that if your in-laws, your brother, your wife, your father all have quite large interests in the planning of a suburb, it's a bit of a conflict of interest for you to be the mayor of that suburb for 20 years? whilst being a property consultant no less, whose same family used the firm responsible for 40% of the development in that suburb. At the very least, how has the Labor Party tolerated this? He feels a bit like the Clay Davis of the party, an institution of a person managing to hang around for so long just because he's kind of funny. Let me tell you something. I've survived as mayor of Burwood for 20 years. So if my wife and my brother want to develop property, do you think I have time to declare that under labor rules? I don't know how they do it in your neck of the woods, Sussex Street, but in Burwood, we too damn busy trying to get by. Come on! If it's got me doing a video on Labor, we really need a royal commission into property development, because even if this was all legal, who on earth believes it should be? Like and subscribe.
Please share and comment below. Comment.